To be clear, what you saw was the interview on Wednesday. After that interview with the chiefs, Professor Tihanki has made another statement clarifying no, the draft constitution does not leave room for President Duterte to seek another term. Possible term extensions for President Duterte, of course, is but one of the many questions swirling around the draft federal constitution that no one outside the consultative committee has actually or officially seen. Let's talk with PhilStar Senate reporter Paolo Romero to discuss some other questions on Chacha, starting with Paolo. Will there in fact be Chacha? We've talked to a number of senators, Senator Trillanes, Senator J.V. Ejercito. There seems to be this message still that senators are reluctant to go along with charter change, specifically and especially if it's going to lead, if the mechanism to be explored is a constituent assembly.
You're right, Roby. The Senate will be a difficult hurdle for charter change proponents, especially for those who want to shift the country's government to a federal system. In practical terms, there's very little time or room for the Senate to tackle charter change. As you know, the third regular session of Congress will start on July 23, and maybe a few days or a few weeks after that, Congress, both chambers of Congress, will start tackling the budget. This process, approving the budget, takes a lot of time, and most of the time, committee hearings of other issues are sidelined just to enable the Senate and the House to focus on the budget. And also, Roby, by October, those who want to run for the Senate in the May 19 senator elections will have to file their certificates of candidacy by October. So you would imagine these candidates, there are 5 re-electionist senators in the Senate. You know, the priorities would be from October till the elections will be somewhat different, and I'm sure their minds will be far away from, tackling proposed revisions of the Constitution. And also, there are also other more fundamental differences, or what you call opposition of senators on the move to amend the Constitution. First, the mode, whether it's going to be a constituent assembly or a constitutional convention, and there's also on what provisions should be abandoned or should be left untouched. There are a lot of issues senators are raising on the matter of charter change, let alone federalism. Roby?
Yes, and certainly talking about charter change, constituent assembly, this is all intriguing enough. On the other side of this coin, you've also mentioned now, of course, 2019 an election year. On the other side of it, is there any scenario here where there will be no elections?
Well, the scenario of no elections, or no L, as critics put it, are in the Senate are often raised by opposition senators. While there was a fear before the barangay and SK elections were held last May, now they're raising it again. They have not exactly given a specific scenario on how would that come about, but according to Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon, he texted the Star earlier, and he said that instead of focusing on charter change, which may lead to no L, as he said, it would be better if the administration focuses on pressing problems like high prices, extrajudicial killings. But I think they're thinking of maybe the 2019 elections not pushing through. That's, I think, the scenario on their mind on the possibility of no L.
Okay, now going back to charter change, if everything goes forward on the side of charter change, regardless of mechanism, but assuming if it's a constituent assembly, what is the most optimistic and most realistic timeline for charter change?
Roby, we've spoken earlier with Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel, a party mate of the President and an advocate of federalism. Well, his idea is this: the Committee on Constitutional Amendments would be receiving the draft Constitution from the Constitutional Commission by July or August. And he is hoping that in between this budget deliberation, Senate investigation, other activities of the chamber, somehow the committee chaired by Senator Francis Pangilinan will be able to come up with a committee report that would be approved by the Senate, hopefully, he says, by December or early January next year. And by January until the elections by May, he hopes it'd be a very good campaign among the people to before the plebiscite, so that this draft constitution be approved in the plebiscite that he said would be piggybacked on the May 19 senatorial and local elections. Robbie.
Okay, Paolo Romero, thank you very much joining us from the newsroom of the Philippine Star in Manila.